It's finally our favorite day, everybody. Hair bleaching day. Look at what we're working with. I actually went way longer this time. I checked and I believe we actually gave it a month break. So we do have a little bit of regrowth. I didn't want to wait too long because then it's harder to match your roots to the rest of your hair like the longer you grow out. But I did want to kind of give my hair a break. And I slowly was working this up to like a white hair color over time for our big hair color transformation that we have coming up. I really wanted light hair for it. So here we are. I just wanted to show you guys. Here's where my regrowth is. I have really dark roots. The light is probably making them look a little lighter, but you'll see throughout my head, they're really dark. And also I'm at the age where I'm starting to get a lot of gray hairs. So it might be kind of hard to see here, but I do have some gray hair. Eventually, as I get more, it's going to affect just the way that my hair deals with color and bleaching, and just the whole texture of my hair is going to change. So that's just something for me to keep in mind because I color it so much. Like, hey, you have gray hair. Your hair is not going to be the same. So we're going to go and do all of my roots today. So here we are. We're going to go and bleach all of my roots today. We're going to continue down the road of using only 7 volume to bleach my roots, but we are going to do things just a little bit differently. So just know I have a lot of bleach videos. I have like a bleach playlist if you want to check that out, or I'll link some more recent ones below. You wanted to check those out because today I am doing things differently than I normally do. So we are going to do 2 separate applications. A lot of you know I have health problems and I do have neuropathy and things like that. And because of that, I'm just not as fast as I used to be with doing all this. So I just thought it would be less stressful, cause less breakage. Also, I want to try some of Hair Buddha's tips and tricks in his most recent How to Bleach Your Hair video with BLONDME. I believe it was only 3 months ago. So I'll go ahead and put his channel down below if you wanted to go check that out. He's reacted to me twice on my bleaching and so far he's enjoyed it. So I really wanted to take the time, go check out his most recent tips and try and implement those today. So that being said, when I do the 2 different processes, I'm also only going to process them for 30 minutes each. So I'm going to do the front section separately than the back section. I'm going to do them in only 30-minute applications. I just want to see what color it's at. I don't want to stretch it to 40, 45 minutes. I want to just go as low a time as possible and as low a volume as possible, which we've already proven that this works just fine on my roots. I get them extremely light in my first application. But you're going to get the most levels of lift in the first 30 minutes. So that's why I'm just going to go ahead and be done with it at 30 minutes. Another thing I'm going to follow that he does differently is how I section my hair. When I do all my sectioning, I'm actually going to be sectioning my front different because the way that he sections it, he promises that it's going to help you get a more even result. The best way to learn is by just getting into it. I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people, I got to see it as I'm learning it. So me sitting here and explaining the whole process probably isn't going to help. We got our dirty shirt. I have already brushed out my hair to prepare for the sectioning. It's just going to make everything easier on you guys as you go. I did prep my hair with some hair oils. I avoided all of my roots because that's what I'll be bleaching. If you're here and you're bleaching like the rest of your hair, don't put the oils and stuff in it. It's going to make it harder for the bleach to work and you're going to get messed up results. Yeah, if you're looking for like treatment, you're going to want to do that after you bleach your hair. Obviously, there's certain products that are meant to put in your hair for when you're going to prepare it for bleaching, but do not put oils in your hair on the spots you're going to be bleaching. So I would have probably done a mask, but since we're doing 2 separate applications, I'll be doing masks in between. You'll see when we get there. So I just did all oil. I did like a coconut-based OGX kind of oil just now, like an hour before. And like I said, I tried to focus on everything that wasn't my roots. Just because my hair is so light, there's not really much lighter it can go. So any bleach that I overlap on here is going to risk more breakage. It's just going to cause unnecessary damage. And I really am just trying to only do here. And then I'm going to go in on a different video and probably try to tone these depending on what the result is. With no developer, I'm going to do my little homemade toner or I'm going to try a new product. We'll have to wait and see. So I hope you guys stick around. But either way, less damage as possible. We're going to be doing that with no developer. So just keep that in mind as well with the results. It's okay if they're going to be yellow or a little brassy. We're going to see how we can tone it from there. Basically, we want as little damage as possible with our bleaching today. So let's just get right into it. I really hope that this video is going to help you guys in some way. I hope it helps me in some way. I'm really hoping that this will continue to help the integrity of my hair as we keep doing all this fun stuff. It might not look like it, but a lot of you know I actually have bangs. They're just kind of hidden right now. So there they are. So here's our befores. There goes the back. So today I'm going in with my favorite bleach, Blonde Me from Schwarzkopf 9 Lift bleach powder. This is the bleach that he uses in his video. It's never done me wrong. And I'm also going with their Blonde Me Oil Formula Moisture Developer. I'm going in with their 7 volume. They're 2%, so 7 volume developer. Using these together. Like I said, I brushed out my hair. I prepped out my hair. Now I'm going to go ahead and section my hair. I actually use these color track clips. Lately, it really helps in having everything pre-sectioned to pull down. And of course, I have my gloves and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and section all of my hair, and we are actually going to do the first bleaching in the back of my head. Not only is that where it's recommended for you to start bleaching in general, but also I think it'll be easier because then when I rinse everything out, I can put my treatment or my deep conditioner in and let that all stay nice and protected while I bleach the top of my hair. And that way also when I rinse this out and go to put a treatment in it, this is already protected. You get it. So basically then when all this bleach rinses out, this is going to be really nice and well coated and protected and have a treatment in it. So then the rinse out shouldn't affect and damage any of this down here. I also have 2 separate timers. And if you see me using this at all, I am not using this metal tip brush while I'm bleaching. I just really like this brush. I haven't found one that I like so much. A mistake in an older video that actually Hair Buddha reacted to where I was using this metal tip brush. It can cause little cuts in your head. It'll cause the bleach to irritate your head. So yeah, so let's get this all sectioned up and then we will get to mixing the bleach. So thank you guys so much for being here. If this is your first time here, I really hope that you subscribe, keep hanging out with the rest of us. My Instagram is also always open if you want to go head on over there. And I really definitely hope you stick around because we're going to be doing my new hair color soon. And it is something I've never done on this channel, on myself at least. And I'm just so excited. Seriously, all of you, I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. So I've probably done so many spoilers in this video, but that's because like I have a super hard time containing surprises. Like you should see me around Christmas time. I have such a hard time not telling like the kids like what I got them. So let's do this. Oh my gosh, I kid you guys not. I already want to like not do this. So sectioning for me is probably the hardest part of bleaching my hair. Like I literally had to take 3 breaks because my arms hurt. I was frustrated. I couldn't get it straight. I started rethinking my process. So just know that in the long run, it's going to be worth it pre-sectioning your hair and kind of thinking it through the best you can. If I got this frustrated trying to do it, imagine if there was bleach mixed or I had half of it on my head. It's just like whatever. So this probably doesn't make sense, but I sectioned like a smaller one in the front. And just so you know, so this doesn't confuse you guys, I'm still growing out this undercut. I'm going to be bleaching in kind of probably what seems like a weird order. But I'm not going to bleach underneath here today because there's just like not a lot of dark regrowth. And this little bit that is in between in here is such a light brown still. Just not worth putting the bleach on, especially because it's like so hidden right now while we're growing it out. I'm actually going to start my bleach process like more up here where the roots start to get a little darker on this section and go straight across. And then I have these into 2 sections and I have one already figured out with the color clip, but not this side. So it might seem a little bit confusing, but you can see where I kind of tried to do the parting to like my ear here. I wanted the front to be a lot smaller of a section. So fingers crossed this goes well. As soon as I mix the bleach, we're going to want to get it in our hair right away because it starts processing as soon as those chemicals mix together. I'm going to make sure I ventilate. I'm sensitive to smells and stuff. They give me a headache. I really hope this goes well. That should have been the hardest part. Nothing like a little child humor to get this going. That's just my opinion, is it's just easier to section it all out ahead of time because that was such a pain. You also just want to make sure you have, try to have enough bleach for the section that you're working on. Make sure you have enough. Obviously, if you go too crazy and that bleach sits there way too long, then you probably need fresh bleach. But if you go too little, you're going to end up having to stop and mix more. It's funny because usually when I do my whole head, no matter how much it seems I mix, I always end up needing a fresh batch by the front, which is fine. Because like I said, by then for me, the bleach might have been sitting there too long anyways. So hopefully this is just this whole process that we're doing is going to make everything just like develop so much better, so much more even. And now I have so many parts that sat too long or got damaged. And hopefully I have enough bleach powder for this today. I should. So here it is. It's got that nice blue tint to help us with our toning. This bleach actually already has a bond protection system in it already, so you don't have to add Olaplex or anything like that, just so you know. A lot of people might have like scales that they like measure the weight of their powders and stuff on, but I just like to use any kind of vessel, doesn't matter. Honestly, obviously don't put these back in the kitchen, but I have all different little sizes for when I'm working off and like doing swatches or just need a little bit of something, because the ratios, when it comes down to it, it's not going to matter that this says a half of a cup. That doesn't matter. It's going to matter is how many times you need to fill it, if that makes sense. So if I'm going to do a 1:1 ratio mixing and I'm using this, then it would be one of these. There's the 1 part bleach. And then one of these, there's a 1 part developer. Or if it's a 1:2 ratio, it'd be one of these of bleach and 2 of these of developer. So that's why sometimes you'll see people, they get like the little toner bottle, this or that. They'll mix it in to match it. That might be a little rougher because it's like physically in a bottle. You might not be getting as exact of a measurement, but this is my fail safe. This is my go-to. It helps me not get confused. I have a very difficult time with my cognitive issues, so I really try to simplify everything the best I can. Because of my health issues, I try to also just make all the steps throughout this as easy as I can, which is why I say don't worry, take a break, get your sectioning ahead of time, stuff like that. So as always, I hope this video helps in some way. Like I said, I have more in-depth videos on this bleach and comparing it so many different ways, but they do recommend their mixing ratio to be 1 to 1.5 ratio up to 1 to 2.5. I normally mix it at a 1 to 1.5 anyways. That's my favorite mix for this when doing my roots. It just has like this real nice consistency. So that's what I'm going to be going with today. But to each their own, depends on what you're doing, depends on what you're working with. I'm going to be putting it on the back of my head, and I'll try and get you the best kind of clips that I can. I'm actually going to set a timer from when I start and also when I'm all the way done. I try and leave it on 30 minutes from when I finish. Check every few minutes or 5 minutes and just make sure, because it might sometimes be done sooner, whatever. So that's just real important, is to just keep an eye on it until it's where you want it. Also, when it's on your roots, we have a lot of heat coming off of our scalp. That's why you also, if you're bleaching your whole head, you're going to want to start with like the rest of your hair first before you work on your roots, because your roots are going to always develop faster than the rest of your hair. I always have a few towels handy nearby when I'm doing this to wipe my hands on, things to get on your face, stuff like that. And I always make sure I have extra brushes. I don't know if I said that. That way you just can real quick switch them out if it's getting too full of color or whatever. Another thing you might not be able to see when I'm over there is when you get your bleach, if you want to try and keep it on one side of your brush and like just wipe it so it's on one side, that's just going to make it easier when you're applying. Just a few more tips in there. So let's mix some bleach. Usually I use my whisk to mix it, but some of you mentioned with the swelling, maybe I was causing too much air with that, and I'm like, good point. So I am going to try using a brush to mix it today, just to see if it makes a difference. The temperature is nice in here. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's like Goldilocks. Come down here and mix some bleach. I just opened this. Wasn't sitting out like that. Oh, I don't have a lot of bleach though, so it almost makes me wonder if I should go in smaller amounts. Oh, that's risky. I'm going to go with the smaller one because I do have a 7 lift bleach just in case that I could use as well. So let's just start with that. If I have to mix another one, I have to mix another one, which I probably will. Well, between hating my sectioning and now questioning how much bleach I have, we're not off to a good start. Be careful with these tops on this BLONDME. I have had it pop off on me before. So there's a 1:1 ratio. Like I said, I'm going to do the 1 to 1.5, maybe even a little over 1.5. So that's like a little bit over 1.5. I figure some of it gets stuck in there. To me, that'll be perfect. Put my cap back on. Yeah, so let's try mixing with the brush this time. You know what I probably should have done if I knew I was mixing with the brush, is maybe used my whisk to sift out the bleach, and that would have helped me avoid chunks without using the whisk in this part. But it's too late to turn back now. So here's the chemical process that's happening. So that's when you're going to want to really hurry. And honestly, why does it already look like it's swelling? Well, I guess that didn't make a difference. The newer formula is supposed to swell less, and I don't know why I've been noticing. I feel like I've been having issues with the swelling. It already looks like it foofed up to me. So here we go, I guess, again with that. I don't remember having this issue with the old formula, and this one's supposed to swell less, so I'm just not quite sure. Maybe Hair Buddha will see this video and like the other ones, and maybe he can let us know. So I guess let's go get this on my hair. Slightly disappointed with that. But oh well, let's go put it on my hair. So you can see I'm starting at the bottom there instead of going underneath my undercut and using that as my starting point. And on this side, I'm going to work my way up. Don't mind the way I'm holding my hair. I just got a little messed up and just went for it on this part. So here you can see I'm working straight across before I get to those upper two sections. And now I'm going to start on the left side that has the color track first, and then I'm going to move to the right side. So I did the left side, you weren't able to see that. So now we're going to start on the right side and start at the top. So I worked my way from the bottom up on the other side that I had pre-sectioned. And now I'm going in and doing my entire perimeter on this entire square piece here, making sure everything is fully saturated. That's really going to help me. Now, really thin sections starting at the top. It's because I want that whole band across the top to all process together. There's those really thin sections so that I can see the bleach through to the other side. So I like to make sure I grab a piece of hair and hold it in my hand while I put bleach on both sides of the hair. It just helps me keep better control. See how I did that? I'm still holding onto the hair, going back and forth. Here, I'm using that color track clip at the top to keep my hair held as I go through each section. Luckily, my hair is long enough for this, so I'm just going to keep repeating that all the way down to where we went all the way across. I really slowed this part down so that you guys could see just how thin the sections are. And when I have a piece like that and I don't think it's thin enough, I'll just section it in half again. I think I actually do that right here. See, I'm just really making sure each part is saturated. We're going to come back through and cross-check later, so don't stress yourself out if you think you missed a spot. See right here how I need to do that small piece on the side? That's where the perimeter really came in handy and letting me know that I got off track. So I'm just going to speed this up here so you can see same process, doing both sides, holding the hair and just putting it up, going to the next section. Really thin sections, really saturated. You can see the other side is already lifted quite a bit while I'm on this side. And then once I get all the way down here to the bottom, I decide that I'm going to lighten the hair or regrowth here where the undercut is. But I wanted to wait till I was done with the entire rest of my head because it was so light. Oh my god, this sucks. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys cross-checking really quick since I'm all completely done. Here's where I missed a spot, so that really helped. And now I'm putting a bag on my head. We are at rinse out, and it's a pretty light blonde, so I gotta hurry. I just wanted to show you guys really quick. So, I'll see you guys after. Okay, so here we are right after rinse out. It's like how cool it's gonna be to really be able to see all the contrast, you know, because we're gonna get to see this wet and then dry contrasted with the front. And it's just so cool. I did go over 30 minutes, but not too much, you know? It was under 40 minutes. That was from the time I finished everything back here. I am glad that once I got to the top here, I started at the top here and went down because I really wanted all of this to process together. Still wet, but to me, it looked kind of orangey, but now as it's drying, it's starting to take on a more yellowy tint. But that is because, you know, I have like a darker brown hair color. And so I'm going to tend to have a lot more orange tones when I'm lifting than somebody that was, you know, closer to a very light brown or blonde when they're bleaching. They're not going to have as much orange going on probably as me. They're going to probably hit more yellow. But anyways, for me, I don't think it's too bad. I'm going to wait and see how it is when it's dry. I always do some kind of repair treatment whenever I'm bleaching after, you know, some people use K18. There's all different kinds. I've been trying a whole bunch of different kinds. And so instead of doing a whole separate video on it, I decided to pick up some of the BLONDME line. They have a whole bunch of stuff that helps with it, but the main one I grabbed today was their bonding recovery. And I just grabbed their conditioner to go with it to follow up. And I also have their bonding hydration mask, so I hit it with some moisture and all that stuff. So when I was in the shower, I did really quick put this on. I'm gonna do it in a further 5-minute treatment when we're all done. But I did just put it on in the rinse off process. Another thing I like to use sometimes is the ion after color treatment because it stops the whole oxidization process. Helps restore the natural pH of the hair. I don't know, it's up to you, but sometimes, like, you know, I'll put that in as well. I went with the recovery and then the conditioner to kind of seal that in for now. And then just on my tips of my hair here to keep protecting them after I rinsed everything out, I just put some of the BLONDME. This is a Blonde Wonders Restoring Balm End Sealer. You know, since we're just kind of trying to keep protecting the ends. I threw that on while we're waiting and doing everything else. Since I am about to bleach, I'm going to use the bonding hydration mask to kind of put on a barrier and give this some hydration while we're working on the front of the hair. I didn't want to leave the bonding like recovery in too long because you never know how that can react with your hair. So I thought I'd be safer doing something that's just going to give me a lot of moisture. That's just the way my brain is working today, which to be honest, it's not working that great. The recovery, it felt really good on my hair right away, so I have high hopes for that. We've tried quite a few different things, and I'm really hoping I like this because it was pretty affordable. It's at Sally's, and they have way more to the line. And so yeah, I'm really excited and hopeful that I'm going to enjoy that. I will see you when we're ready for the next step, which is when it's dry. And I rinsed it out with warm water, not super hot water, not super cold water. I just did just like a nice warm waters. Okay, I look terrible. Who cares? Okay, so here we go. It's all dry. And you can see now that it's dried, it's like a lot lighter and more of a blonde. This definitely right here looks a lot more orangey right on the line. So while I'm bleaching at the very, very end, maybe I can just tap a little bit there. Once I peeked through and looked at some of my hair, it's actually like a lighter blonde through here. Yeah, so that's a choice I have to make. But the whole reason that I did this is so that you guys could see, depending on what you're looking for, you don't need to leave it in a whole bunch of time. Knowing that I'm going to be going in with lighter colors, that's a decision I would have had to make. So, and this wasn't a full 45-minute process, which is what they recommend for the max time. And I know a lot of you leave it in longer than that, sometimes up into an hour. But the whole point of this was to leave it in around 30-ish minutes, rinse it out, see where you're at, because it processes the most in those first 30 minutes. So looking at this, I could put another fresh batch on, but really look at how light that is. I could put like any other color over it. I could, even if you're going to use like a toner with developer, those are going to have some lifting power. You know, it just all really depends on what you're going for. So hope you guys can really see what you can achieve with the 7 volume. So next time, if I know I'm going to do lighter colors, I could go in with like a 20 volume, same amount of time I just did, and know that it's going to be lighter than this. So I might have to lighten it just a tiny bit because I don't know if the toner I'm going to use, since I'm not using a developer, I don't know if what I'm going to use, if it's going to be able to work with this tone. But actually looking at it, it might. The tones are going to look a little more harsh because we have this at such a light color. But look at that color that you guys can achieve and go from. Yeah, so if you were going with like really dark natural hair, you can see how doing a 30-minute process, rinsing it out, and doing another 30-minute process is just going to give you more levels of lift than if you leave it in for like a full hour. After the 30 minutes, you're only going to get maybe a couple more levels of lift in the same amount of time as you got like 3 levels of lift in the beginning. That's what Hair Buddha is saying when he says to do the 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead, put just a little bit of our moisture bonding mask from Bond Bar just throughout here on like towards the very ends of my hair. So it can kind of soak in, give that hair some extra protection. And actually I'll even throw in just, throw in a little more oil as well. And just in case I want to tap a little bit on the top here. See, I remember though, as it grows out, you got to think about if it's going to be even and what you're going to want to do with your hair. Like I said, this is just for me, knowing I'm going to be doing light colors. This is like honestly a perfect base for most of my vivid colors. It's just, I don't want to spoil what colors I'm using, but I just need it maybe a little bit lighter to work with the tones I'm going to be using. And also, you don't want to go like too super, super light. Just know if you go like too super light, you strip all the pigment out, your hair is going to have trouble. It's not going to have depth. It's going to have trouble holding on to color. Because you get hair too damaged and too like white. Yeah, it's just, it's going to Strip absolutely all that out of your hair. That's why when you want to get those platinum blondes and stuff, that they work with toners. It's not just bleaching your hair until it's white. You know what I mean? Because that's not the goal you want. So sorry, it's super early if I'm not making sense. So let's go ahead and bleach the front. My front usually bleaches a lot faster. So I'm going to stick with the 7 volume for my whole head. I really like doing this in 2 separate sections so I can really assess. This is so much better than this. Oh, it's not light enough still. It's 45 minutes. Oh, I'm going to just risk it and leave it on another hour. Like, this way you're just really getting that chance. Give it a break, go back in, redo it. And I can tell that this was a lot less damaging. My hair feels so much better than it normally does, which with this bleach, my hair usually doesn't feel too horrible after. They did a really good job with this bleach. And that was the perfect amount of bleach, by the way. I had just enough. Now for his parting sectioning, he wants us to do 1 in the middle and 2 on the sides. And his reasoning for that is you have this top piece, so you can do these 2 sides so that, as he put it, if you're like talking on a video, talking to a friend, whatever the situation is, that way, when you're doing it down the middle, you might be doing this side, then this is going to process at different times. So this way, when you're doing the sides and then the top, the entire top is going to process together, so it's not going to look uneven. Go ahead and do this. And that being said, he said if you part your hair like over to the side more or anything like that, then he said you're going to move this middle section over a little bit to where that middle part's going to be. Because, yeah, the whole point is so that the main part of your hair that shows is all processed evenly. I hope that my top section isn't too big, actually. And I'm actually going to start here and work my way back, since I actually think I'm going to tap those at the end, so I'm not too worried about overlap. Otherwise, I'd probably put like a plastic bag there. Remember when like I tapped the top, I saw that it's kind of lighter throughout here, so I just want it to kind of match with that. Otherwise, you're just going to cause more and more unevenness. Also, what I could do is next time I bleach my hair, I could always leave this, and next time I bleach my roots, towards the very, very end, I could just tap it down just a little bit more to kind of even this up with everything. So I've been tending to take my time towards my goals. As we could tell, like I didn't get this hair like this super light in one day. I kind of worked on it. So just something to keep in mind. All kinds of different options you can do to mix with it. Gosh, it's just so early. I can't. I'm using a different bowl this time. I'm just going to do 2 scoops of bleach powder. 2 of those. I'm actually going to mix the front in like a 1-2 ratio, because in the back we did a 1 to 1.5. I'm doing it a 1 to 1.2. They said 1 to 2.5, so this is somewhere in the middle of the recommendation. So I'm going to start with a perimeter on this side. That really helps just keep it all together. Helps stop me from getting lost. I'm going to work from the top down, honestly, because that's a tricky area down there. You can see a little bleach went through the other side. That's just a good way to kind of tell if you got enough, if you got a thick enough section. I didn't perimeter the front of my hair because I got a lot of baby hairs there up here. So it's kind of a pain, which is also why I'm using a smaller brush. You can see all my flyaways. So see, we went through that piece, and when I lift it up, oh, I can see through it. Okay, maybe right there it's a little... That's just a good way to know if you got through all the way. I'm already having trouble with my vision here. See? So came through the other side. Normally I set a timer for when I started, but I'm going to set a timer for how long that's been on that side. And so you can kind of see where some old bleaching was, where it's just a little bit darker, and that's where I was saying you could always pull this down at the end. Get that to match up if there's anything, from your last bleaching that you wanted to lighten the tone a little bit more. Bleach swells, so it'll probably honestly rinse out and lighten that little band on its own. Oh, my back, oh, my back, oh, my back. Here I just like to touch up the perimeter and make sure I didn't miss anything before I start the new section. I always make sure to brush out each section. And here I'm just doing the perimeter all around the front, except for the very front of the bangs because the hairs are so short. And remember, we can cross check. So we'll come back here and do the opposite direction and see if I missed any cheetah spots here. Because it is hard to see. Again. Now they do have like additive, like toners that you can put right in your bleach. They have it, I think, a matte one, a violet one, the more blonde, the brown, and I can't remember what the other ones. I think the other one's like a green. Pretty cool. Hair Buddha talks about them on his bleach video. I brought them up before. I wanted to compare the blue and the violet on my own head and try it out, but they only had one. They only had like the blue. But I wanted to buy them both together. And one is always sold out. So it went bloop, and then bloop. It went to the other side. This could be maybe slightly runnier than I wanted it, but I don't know if you guys can see some of those gray hairs in there, but they're there. I feel like I've always been an old soul. I don't know, maybe everyone says that until we actually get older and then we realize that we knew nothing. Secretly, we knew nothing this whole time. And this is where it's nice to have multiple timers. Because now when I look at my timer, I can say, oh, that's how long it's been in since here. Or I actually like to even set multiple timers too. So I can say, oh gosh, this side's been in this long. And kind of compare. You're going to have to sometimes rinse out depending on your situation. And that's okay too. I know it is a little bit easier. Like, you got to remember that in the salons, they have like the chairs so they can go like rinse out your hair and do everything, and they could put like a toner right in the bowl, you know, things like that. Or even for the second bleaching, everyone's different, but I'm assuming sometimes they can take that like wet hair, maybe be quicker to just slam the bleach through the roots again, you know, without drying and starting over. They can just kind of go from the bowl, or like I said, or tone right at the bowl. So I know that I know that it's a little bit more difficult when it's hard for us to get in and out of the shower, especially like if you have health problems. Like I use a shower chair, so I can't just get in and out of the shower and rinse. But this still ended up being easier for me this way because I was able to rinse out the back, and I have like a handheld shower thing, and I'm able to like take that break. But having that handheld shower has been a game changer, to be honest. So here I let the front process before I start to tap in some on the back. Very lightly. Kind of just draw that down. And then, like I said, I'll go in the other mirror. Because obviously there's going to be another layer under that and under that. And I don't need to go all the way down the back of my head. It's just, I can't tell you guys what I'm doing with my hair. So it's hard for you guys to probably picture the end result when I'm done coloring it and toning it and everything. I do know that I need the front and the back on the top here to match a little better than they are. So just that light bit of bleach is going to make a big difference. I'm going to try and lightly just go down to the next section and see if I see any more of those orangey tones. It's like, yep, okay, there's a little bit more. Already, I put all my protection on the ends on the back so that when I wash this out, it shouldn't affect that all too much. Okay, so like I said, I didn't do the whole back, but I wanted you guys to be sure to know I didn't just blindly throw it here. I went through the sections in the back and just saw where it was still a little bit orangey and just put a tiny bit. And then as I'm sectioning through, I could see, okay, well, that side's nice and pale yellow. It's not orangey. So it's just a way to even out any of those last few spots that maybe just were still too dark. Because you could see through here it's kind of orangey. Through the back it was fine. So just want to let you guys know what I'm doing. So this side doesn't have as much orange. So that side hadn't been processed as long. So this was nice for me to be able to go through and just pinpoint those pieces to even everything out. All right, and see how like here in the middle it was a nice tone. So for me, this has almost been better because while I was waiting for the last part of this to process up here, so I took it out of the bag because all this was already processing really light and this still had some time. So I wanted to take these out of the bag. So literally just like 1 or 2 minutes, I just mixed a real small, quick little, eyeballed a little batch of bleach and just went through the back, and the parts that were really orange, I put there first. And just now, right before rinse off, I picked off any other pieces that seemed like they'd be mismatched. So for me, this was better than leaving it in over an hour, hoping everything's even, and still having pieces that were not even because it all sat different times. So for me, this process so far, I really liked it. And now is where I could have decided, oh, maybe I only want to use the 7 lift bleach and a 7 volume, just a really light. Depending, I don't want it to get on the rest of my hair, or else, you could have even maybe done just a light bleach bath the day after bleaching if you just needed to get one more level out. Or like I said, also, that color was perfect for a lot of colors, but I'm doing extremely light colors, so I don't want to bleach my hair super white or it won't hold the colors, but I also don't want too many underlying pigments, and I just want like a nice pale yellow at least so I can do some kind of a tone. But to be honest, I think I have everything almost pretty much even from the back to the front as well. This is looking pretty much done here. We got our nice pale yellow. The bangs were the last to go on. So now here's where we will come and cross-check. I guess I got my whole back done now. Go ahead and cross-check my bangs and see if we can go ahead and rinse everything out. So when you cross-check, you're going to want to slice it the opposite way that you did it. So since we went down this way, we're going to go right, vertical. Is that right? So I have brain problems. Opposite way, pull it apart, check in there. Normally I have bleach left over that you can go tap on there. There you go, you gotta kind of swipe some of that bleach away to see the color. See how it's darker than it looked right under there? This needs a little more time. And depending on how I feel about these sides, I could go and just start rinsing off the sides and just leave the top. It's up to you. But yeah, so as far as cross-checking, you would see like cheetah spots there. Go to the next section, see if we missed anything. It's still quite yellow right there. So we'll leave it in just a little longer, but you can see, I wish I had a little bleach left over. Perfectly, honestly, on here, it looks like everything's kind of matching. Section. Oh, see, I see a little bit of orange there. Oh, that's because I didn't go far enough down. Normally, I like to reapply a little bleach because my comb is probably moving some of the bleach around as well, taking it off there. That looks good. Oh, I went into another section, but you get the point. The sides of my hair are extremely pale yellow. This front always lifts quicker than my back. And I think you notice the most orangey areas were here along the crown and behind my ear line. Good, that's how you cross check. And you also just can keep checking the integrity of your hair in general. The bangs are almost about their max time for it. It's been like 40 minutes, for those. So that's the last part. All right, so I'm going to wash everything out when all this has been at the max 45 minutes. I wanted to go over 30, but I didn't want to go over the recommended time. So now it's going to be really obvious to see doing it more around like 30, 35 minutes or the full processing time, here up front where I'm going to do it. So it was a really fun experiment. It's all about what the end result you want your hair to be. So just keep that in mind. I have an image of what I need my end result to be and what I can do after. So that's why I said just don't always plan, hey, I need to bleach my hair like super platinum white to get what I want. It all depends on what you're doing, like I promise you. And even most vivid colors, if you watch the videos, they'll have like a very, like obviously hair is super, like a lot more dark when it's wet. So it'll look way more yellow, but you'll see them when they're going to do the color. They'll have a very, sometimes yellow base. Just really depends on what you're doing. Maybe they're going in with some yellows, oranges, reds, like Honestly, you could put most colors over that, but you wouldn't want to put maybe a blue. You're going to end up with more of a green depending on that tone and how dark the blue is, or if you're doing pastel colors. So you totally get what I'm saying, I hope. I hope this is informational. Let's see where we're at. The time. I am going to have to go and rinse it out. And you can see it's just a little bit still tinted in there. I think that can be an easy fix. We'll go ahead and just try and tone it anyways. And if it's still not light enough, we can go ahead and bleach that. Because it's just not worth this all frying. Because it's already looks really, really beautiful pale blonde. All right, guys. Look, you guys. Isn't it so pretty? And this just turned out to be such a pretty blonde. This part is still just slightly yellow, but that can so easily just be touched up or possibly even toned. But the rest of my hair came out absolutely stunning. Most of you know my hair is like naturally wavy and I can either get it curly or I gotta more style it straight. So right now, this is without styling it at all. So thank you to BLONDME and Bond Bar because I think that the condition of my hair is actually better than when I started. Might not look like it because I got these like little waves, curls, but it's actually really shiny, really soft. So like here's the back. I think it just turned out so good. So you can really see where I went through and just did that really light lightening. And look at what a pretty blonde everything is. I think it just turned out so, so pretty. Didn't have to leave everything in a super long time. Like, look at this. I didn't have to leave everything in like over 45 minutes, hoping that everything matched. I was really able to like customize my bleaching this way. And so to me, I really, really liked it. This is gonna tone so easily. This is like just such a nice pale blonde. And I got that back to really lighten up enough. You know, just for a few minutes, nothing crazy, just to kind of bring everything together back there. Even took out some of my toning that I had done. So honestly, I'm just really, really happy with it. Like I haven't really wanted to mess with it, but I'm in love. Like here's it out in the sun and everything. And I'll just show you guys. See, this very front bang section compared to the sides does have some brass, but it's not too bad. But the sides came out stunning. Like look at that. Like, look at how pretty those came out. So that's why I'm not going to be upset if I were to have to go in and just really lightly touch those up. Wow, I'm so impressed with these results, you guys. I think it's just the prettiest blonde. And like I said, my hair feels so much better than it did before. Some of that like old tone out, so we'll be able to go in and do a nice fresh one. I might possibly lighten those up, but I don't know. They're pretty yellow. Might be able to get those in line with this pretty easily. Look at that. That's stunning. That is so light. I can't stop staring at it. So the sides came out stunning. So I also now know in the future that if I'm going to be doing a lighter color that I might be better off just doing like the 20 volume and just doing it for, you know, one process. But I don't mind using the 7 volume and kind of gauging how it goes. Like maybe I'm better off doing the 7 volume in the front and the 20 volume in the back. And then keeping in mind that these roots just took this front part just took a little bit longer than the sides. Now I can keep all this in mind the next time that I bleach. So thank you to Hair Buddha for all of your amazing tips. And thank you to all you guys for being here. I really hope that this video helped you guys in some way. If it did, I hope you hit the like button. And I also really, really hope to see you in the next video because it's almost time to change my hair color. And I'm nervous but excited. So much love, everybody. Hope you're hanging in there.